Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Balanced Living Unfiltered. I'm Dr. Ijeh, a licensed naturopathic doctor here at Balance and Birch. And today, I'm stepping on the mic to share something a bit more personal. So guess what? Guess what, y'all? It's my birthday month. And instead of just reflecting on my wins or milestones, I want to open up about a very real health challenge I went through and how nutrigenomics played a huge role in getting me back on track. Are y'all ready? Okay, let's go. So, yes, I use this powerful tool called nutrigenomics with my patients. But today, I want to talk about how it helped me. Because, see, I'm not just a practitioner, I'm a human too. Where do I begin? So please excuse me if I take some pauses because this is something very personal and it was a very traumatic experience for me. So in October 2022, I started experiencing these odd, sharp pains in my pelvic region. At first, it felt like a pulling, almost like it was intermittent. It was very annoying, but manageable. It became more intense after a while, and I couldn't sleep. I felt weak. I started vomiting and even developed a fever. But still, I kept on pushing through and thinking it would pass. I actually told myself that maybe it was just stress or something hormonal. I nearly shoved it off. But deep down, I knew something was very wrong. After about 2 weeks of trying to manage it on my own, I eventually went to see my OBGYN. I remember that moment very, very detailed. That moment she tried to insert the speculum to perform a routine exam. I cried out in pain. She stopped immediately and said, "I can't continue." She said, "You need to go to the ER right now." Y'all, let me tell you, I'll be honest. I broke down. I had a gut feeling all along that something serious was going on. But hearing those words really made it real. Let me continue. So I found the strength to head to the ER. And after a round of tests and imaging, I was admitted to the hospital. The diagnosis they gave me, a pelvic abscess. In case you don't know what that is, it's a serious infection that could have turned septic if I had waited any longer. I spent a week in the hospital receiving strong IV antibiotics. I remember just feeling like helpless, hopeless, having to be cleaned up. And I'm just going to keep it all the way real since we keeping it unfiltered, even defecated on myself. Like, I couldn't believe in my adult life that I'll be doing that. But it was a really, really traumatic, trying period for me. I also underwent a surgical procedure to drain the abscess. And even after being discharged, I left with a drainage bag because there was still fluid that needed to come out. As you can imagine, it was very, very overwhelming. Being a doctor and a patient at the same time, I kept on asking myself while I was at the hospital, how did this even happen? None of the doctors at the hospital could give me a clear reason. And even me myself as a practitioner, I couldn't really think of why I could have gotten an abscess in the first place or why there was fluid in my pelvic region. But it all didn't sit right with me. So once I was home, I knew I had to dig deeper. I didn't want to end up back in the hospital, and I didn't want to rely on only symptom control. So I consulted another naturopathic doctor because let's be real, even though I am a doctor, I know I can't treat myself objectively. So we both decided to run a nutrigenomics test to see if there was underlying genetic factors that might explain the inflammation and fluid buildup. For those that may not be familiar, nutrigenomics looks at how your genes interact with nutrients and how your body metabolizes things like hormones, toxins, and inflammatory compounds. It helps you get clarity on what your body uniquely needs and what it struggles with. So when I got my results back, it was so eye-opening. I had several genetic variants that affected detox pathways, estrogen metabolism, and inflammation regulation. That meant that my body had a harder time clearing out inflammatory byproducts and managing hormone-related fluid retention. So these are some factors that likely contributed to the abscess forming in the first place. So let's get to the good stuff. Enough of the heavy stuff. This is making me, emotional, to be honest. I definitely don't want to go back to that moment, and I don't wish that on my worst enemy. So after receiving all of this insight, along with the naturopathic doctor I was working with, we made a plan. I adjusted my nutrition. I added specific supplements to support detox, reduce inflammation, and balance hormones. I started focusing on liver and lymphatic support, and slowly but surely, I felt stronger. The drainage resolved, my energy came back, my body felt lighter, clearer, and I felt like myself again. And honestly, I now had even more compassion for my patients because I had been in that place, the unknown, the fear, the frustration of not having answers. Nutrigenomics gave me a roadmap, and it's something I now use with even more conviction in my practice. So why am I sharing this today, you ask? Because we often look at doctors and assume we have it all figured out. But you got to remember that doctors are human too. We face health challenges, we cry, we fear, and we heal. I wanted to share this to remind you that there's always more than one way to get answers. If you've been struggling with unexplained symptoms, or if conventional medicine hasn't given you the full picture, nutrigenomics or other specialty labs might be the missing piece. I would like to end by saying a huge thank you for letting me share this part of my journey. It wasn't easy sharing, but I hope it encourages you to keep asking questions and to seek care that honors your body's uniqueness. If you want to learn more about nutrigenomics or personalized wellness plans, you can connect with me through Balance and Birch, or find more resources at balanceandbirch.com. Until next time, be kind to yourself, trust your body, and don't be afraid to dig deeper. Thanks, y'all. Bye.